first and foremost, we got to remove these toxic people that are around us.
Yes, sir.
That don't want nothing.
Teach.
They don't want nothing. I mean, everybody in their family got some toxic people.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you see them come, you say, oh, shit.
2 or 3.
HD. Just going, man.
I got
staying in today.
I got something, brother. Damn. I got something to walk through that door sometime. I be like, oh, shit. Y'all know. Y'all see him coming in.
Hold on now.
Family member.
Hold on.
That I love.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But hold on now.
I know his cousins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't get it.
You're not mad today or nothing, are you?
I woke up mad.
Oh, okay.
So I woke up mad.
Like
so anyway,
you said, we all got something.
So you don't have to have good sense to understand who's with you and who's not with you.
Yes, sir.
Because everybody ain't going.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't
They
going.
can't go.
We got to save those who want to be saved.
Yes,
Everybody
sir.
ain't
That's
going.
true.
Yeah, it is. True story.
Everybody is not going.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to
True
be
story.
2 people come to you. They're going to either come to you with the mindset of the Lord or the mindset of the devil.
Yep.
Ain't
no
that
in
only 2
between.
people coming.
Ain't no in between.
Ain't no in between.
That's
Either
right.
you on some nonsense
That's right.
or you on some real stuff. Which, I mean,
Minister
and-
say, who is your leader? God or
That's
Satan?
right. That's right. That's right.
Who's your leader?
That's right.
Because that's who you following.
That's
One
right.
of the 2.
Without any money, all you got is intention.
That's right.
Now, how many times we hear people say, oh man, if I had this,
Yeah.
if I had this. So that brings me to the real subject of what I want to talk about today.
None of that is the real
No,
subject.
it's not the
bro?
real subject.
That,
The real
that was
subject-
a prelude.
The real subject I want to talk about today is the 8 million people who lost their homes in 2010, 2011, 2012. I want to talk about them
Okay.
because they lost their homes while it was a black president sitting up there.
Yes, sir.
That's how they lost their homes.
Yes, sir.
Before we do that, let's take this call, Harold, so we can go right
Okay.
into the
Well,
to
make
the
sure they're
to
on
the
the
lesson.
subject matter.
Okay, go ahead. Carly, are you listening? Please be on the subject matter. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. Actually, I wanted to comment on the topic that was spoken earlier. You guys give great topics. My God, but I was holding on so long, you guys kind of passed it. But I just briefly want to just mention regarding Meghan and her husband, Prince Harry. People have to understand a lot of times we have these kind of family dynamics, whereas there's a family disruption, and this is going on in a lot of families, particularly with in-laws. I just want to say that you're talking about, with Prince Harry, his grandmother is of a different species. They're from a different species, and I'm talking about a demonic species. You're talking about devil worshippers. They call so many names, reptilians or serpent seed. They're all from the devil's family. So, Prince Harry, his mom, Diana, she represents a God energy, a God factor. She represents a God lineage, someone who worships God. So, the two do not get along. The devil will never get along with God or any of his children or anything righteous. So it hates God's children. The Bible do state that, the serpent will bruise the heel of the woman will bruise the head of the serpent's seed. Okay? So we have to understand that Prince Harry's wife, Meghan, she's biracial, but she represents a God factor, God energy, someone who is righteous. So they hate her, not so much of her skin color. We're talking about a species, but Prince Harry's grandmother, his brother, his dad, who also had a hand in the murder of Prince Harry's mother. He knew that. He knows that, so he don't want a repeat in history, and he's standing up to this demonic. God always have someone in the family to rise up against evil, and he's been the chosen one. He represents a God energy. So he's protecting his wife and child. And so, yes, they have to get out of there. But we're going to, we send, prayer to that family because they're trying to do righteous, as far as helping the poor. They do a lot of humanity work, giving and things like that. And so we support them and we pray for them. I had an issue with my in-laws. I remember at 19, I never saw this before in my life, but it was like my mother-in-law, I was 19 years old at the time. I was visiting my husband at the time. We were visiting his mom, and I never saw this before in my life, but it was like I came in the living room with my cousin. We were dating at the time, weren't married, and I saw her eyes. It was like bulging black. You did not see the white part of her eye, and it was just so scary to me. I never saw that before in my life. But she was a devil worshiper. But it was also, that demon could come in at will, especially if they have a relationship with the devil. You have people that can transform themselves into, whoever they worship, that demon spirit. But it was like he was my boyfriend at the time. He rushed me on out of there like I saw something I wasn't supposed to see, but he saw it all the time. Him and someone, they knew Mama go through her transitions all the time, go into rage and things like that. But for me, I never saw that before. So I was rushed out of the house because it was a family secret. It was something he didn't want me to see. And so, after, marriage and things like that, now divorce, after 27 years of marriage, you have people that are among us who are of different species. They're either of God or the devil, okay? And their behavior will tell you who they are. So it's nothing personal. It's just that, the devil do not get along with God's people. And, of course, God's people do not get along with the devil's people. We don't like the sin and the evil work that they do. So I just want to just briefly touch on that. And you guys have a great topic, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay,
so.
Thank you, Harold.
Oh, no problem. So there's a book out called Home Wreckers, written by this guy named Aaron Glantz. And so I was reading the book, and there's some information in that book that really, really is disturbing, Brother Wally, in terms of the 8 million people who lost their homes in America in 2009 and 10, when there was a black person sitting in the White House. We've had the largest wealth gap, crime chaser, in the history of America take place during that 8 years that there was a black man sitting in the office.
Yes, sir.
And Brother Larry just sent another text about Charlotte. He said that Charlotte, North Carolina is named after her, after the queen, the black queen, Sophie Charlotte, born in 1744. I also got a text from somebody that said, talk about the Bill Winston water story. I was in a meeting with Bill Winston, and we were in his office, and we were talking. He was showing me his airplane. He's a pilot. I mean, I was really enjoying the conversation, sitting there talking with him, and we had a one-on-one, me and him, and so as he was talking, he was drinking Avion water. And he just took me in the basement of his church where they had a water filtration system where they were bottling water in bottles, and it was called Living Word water, And so when we came out of the basement, he gave me some Living Word water. He said, you want water? Yeah. So fine. So then he went in his refrigerator and got him some Avion. And so I'm drinking his water, and he's drinking Avion. And so he's talking, and I'm not really hearing at this point now. I'm like, well, damn, why I'm drinking this and he's drinking that? There's some shit in this water I ain't supposed to have.
Right.
And so I'm like, so finally he was like, he must have noticed that I was kind of lost. He said, you okay? I said, yeah, but I said, I had a question to ask you. Why am I drinking this and you drinking that? He said, oh, I can taste this water. It does my taste buds well. So anyway, the largest wealth gap in the history of this country took place under a black president.
Yes, sir.
And now we have the lowest home ownership, crime chaser, in the history of this country. Since men came home from Vietnam, where they were allowed to get GI loans.
Yeah. Yeah.
The majority of those 4 million GI loans were white men, because we still couldn't get them.
Yep.
When they came home, they were still bartering whether, because up until '63, they weren't, the red line is we weren't even allowed to. If you bought a home and you were black, you had to buy it on contract. You couldn't buy it through a mortgage company. And so the housing basically is going to be the biggest expense that you have in terms of 5 components of day-to-day stuff. Your rent or your mortgage is the biggest expense that you got. So you look at the average homeowner in America today that has their house is in excess of worth $200,000. That's the average homeowner. They have an average of $200,000 of equity of the 8 million who lost their homes, but those who are left. Now the average renter has a net worth of about $2,000. Okay. You might have a stereo, you got
Computers.
a computer.
Wow.
You really ain't got no equity. You don't have any equity. So when Indy Bank, remember that bank, Indy Bank in California? That was the first big bank that went under. Remember Indy Bank?
Yeah.
It was the first big bank that went under. And they went and got Steve Mnuchin. Y'all know who Steve Mnuchin is?
Yeah.
on
Ain't
the
he on
cabinet.
TV all the time now?
He's the treasurer.
Steve Mnuchin is the treasurer.
Steve Munskin.
No, Mnuchin.
Oh,
Mnuchin.
Okay.
me and my bag.
You being funny. So the government gave him $1 million to buy the bank. $1 billion.
Yeah.
Really?
They literally, Nancy Pelosi and Schumann, what's the other guy named Schumann? Schumer gave him, they passed legislation to give him $1 billion to take the bank. Now these are your Democrats.
Yeah.
Now, who was sitting in the presidency when they gave him the money?
Obama.
Wow.
Hey, y'all got to get this.
One of the greatest friends
We
of
got
all.
to get to be researching like you, brother. Teach.
Brother, I'm going to cook it for y'all since I've already read.
Yes, sir. I got the plate. I want some.
So he bought the bank, and then they gave him $1 billion once he got the bank.
Yes, sir.
Now, dude foreclosed on 110,000 people.
Wow.
My God.
25,000 of them were over 70 years old.
You didn't care.
That's what he did.
Yes, sir.
Now, this dude, man, he was the first one on the first largest bank that went under, where Nancy Pelosi and Schumer came in and said, we want you to take the bank, Wally, and we're going to give you $1 billion to take it. And then he foreclosed on 110,000 people, 25,000 seniors, over 70 years old. Now, then they went and got this guy named Tom Barrick. Tom Barrick bought 30,000 homes at one time. They were bundling these mortgages.
Yes.
Now, but when they bundled them, he was buying them at one time. He was like, boom, 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 boom. Now the frightening part was that Mr. Obama gave these banks trillions of dollars.
That's right. That's right.
Now he gave them the bailout, crime chaser,
Right. I remember that.
and they were supposed to bail the people out.
Never happened.
But guess what they did? They foreclosed on the people.
Yeah.
They didn't give them nothing.
And it's hard to get a mortgage now.
They didn't give them nothing. So J.P. Morgan was bundling the houses. They sold Barrick, this boy named Tom Barrick, 30,000 houses. They bundled them.
Yes, sir.
And then they bought in Steve Schwartzman, who owned Blackstone, and he owns Invitation Homes. He bought 80,000 houses.
Damn, how do you buy 80,000
80,000 houses. 80,000 houses.
For a penny.
And now, mind you, pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, you're right, Red.
Pennies on the dollar. So if it was $100,000 house, they got it for $6,000 or $7,000.
Yes, sir.
And now these are private equity guys.
Yes, sir.
Mnuchin, Barrick, Schwartzman. So, we were redlined all the way up to 1965, where banks just didn't loan black people money. They said, we're not loaning you nothing. We're not letting you. They would just, redline is that white people get mortgages and you don't.
No.
Right.
You go to the bank, they say, I'm sorry, so you don't.
And your black banks closed.
And so it was an unusual thing that took place of a guy named Mr. Butler. The Butler family they bought the house in 1963, was unheard of. In San Francisco, Wally, for about $20,000, an 861 square foot house, which today is worth $1 million. Now
861 square. That's just a couple of
861
hotel rooms together, right?
861 square foot house.
Yes, sir.
Now, when they foreclosed on him, and they went in, what they did, Crime Chaser, was that when they foreclosed on people, like they did, they would put the lien of the actual money that they were making. So on this house, there was a lien of $560 million. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
560 million.
On that house. But every house that they owned, that lien existed.
Okay.
So Mr. Barrick had 300 LLCs when he bought those 30,000 houses. He was putting like 1,000 houses in each one LLC. So you didn't know who owned the house. All it was ABC LLC. So the people didn't even know who to call. They had no idea who owned the house. But they were bundling them up. So
What a game.
so when the white soldiers came home from Vietnam, they gave them they put 4 million GI mortgages together, and as long as you were able to get a decent mortgage rate, those people were never foreclosed on.
Right.
It was when you got the subprime rate that you were foreclosed on. You just couldn't afford it. And so what they were doing next, Wally, is when Mnuchin foreclosed on your house and took it, then they would put a note on your door and say, you're not being evicted, you now have the opportunity to rent it back. So they used the one sample of the one lady had a house, her mortgage was $800. But this white lady, man, she was tough. They put the note on her house and said, we're not trying to put you out. We want to rent it to you. But guess what they rented it to her for? $3,100 a month. So she went from $800 something a month to $3,100. Now these are private equity managers.
Almost 4 times what she was renting.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And guess what?
Push out.
She signed the lease and took it because she wanted to fight. She wanted to fight them while she was dealing with it. So then you say, well, she went to the auction where they were auctioning her house out. She went to the auction. I got to back up. That's how she found out. And so when she got to the auction, she cussed out everybody who was going to bid on the house. And they was like, okay, we ain't going to do it. But when one of the people came in, Barrick's people came in, put on some headphones, and act like they didn't even hear. And they wanted to bid on the house, and the next day they put the sign up. They didn't even care but she had ran everybody out of that auction but this one lady. Put on some headphones, So anyway, so she's paying now $3,100 a month. For a house she was paying $850 for.
What a lesson. What a lesson.
And then check this out. On all the maintenance on the house is on you. So they are landlords, but they not. All they want is their rent money. So if the furnace go out, if the pipes burst, anything that happens in that house, you got to fix it.
They get no.
So they had no responsibility with the houses that
No,
they
sir.
took.
No, sir.
None.
Teach.
So,
That's criminal.
so people, man, are sitting in a hopeless state.
Yes, sir.
And Tom Barrick And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac got those houses. Now, mind you, Obama, Pelosi, and Schumer signed off on this stuff. Pelosi signed off on it. She was the one that brought them to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Pelosi.
Yes, sir.
That's why she's worth $190 million. Nobody said nothing.
Teach.
And she walking around there looking like somebody that just got out of a casket, and y'all listening to her. She 80 years old.
Democrat.
Yeah, Wally,
80 years old.
he tough today.
And so they bailed out the banks, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, there were some concerned people sitting in office, Wally, that were really upset with what they did. I mean, there were some people saying, you know what, y'all wrong for this shit, and y'all need to take it back and do what's right by these people. And you know what they were saying? Nancy Pelosi saying, well, if we bail the homeowners out, guess what? They'll feel as though it was a gift, and they won't want to pay their bills.
Wow.
That's what she said.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Yes, sir. Teach.
Her argument was, if we bail them out, Wally, they won't want to pay their bills, and we ain't done nothing but hamper them on their responsibility. Man, the people needed a break.
Yeah.
Y'all gave the money to the banks.
Mm-hmm.
The banks didn't give them nothing.
Right.
And the banks looked at them, and they knew the banks was going to do what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they turned their heads on the people, man.
Yes, sir.
So, 2008 to 2016, 2001, the government took another, 2011, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac took another 200,000 houses and gave them to Tom Barrett
Yes, sir.
for pennies on the dollar.
Teach.
I mean, they split them, not just him, but they split them up with Mnuchin, Barrick, Schwartzman, and this guy named Wilbur. I get his name. And so now in 2014, these liens are showing up on these houses that they have already taken from the people. Now, J.P. Morgan Chase, led by Jamie Dimon, was the mastermind behind it. He was the one that said to Nancy Pelosi and Steve Schwartzman and Tom Barrick and Steve Mnuchin, we're gonna give y'all the houses. This is Jamie Dimon, the same Jamie Dimon that's fighting cryptocurrency and telling you not to buy no gold. Same Jamie Dimon that just did something in Chicago. Now, Chase Bank pulled out of the FHA loans. Guess how they did it? Man, this is amazing.
Teach.
This is Jamie Dimon. Guess how he did it? Crime chaser. They took all their banks and said they were no longer branches, they were offices.
Wow.
Teach.
He took 400 branches
Teach.
and changed them into 400 offices on paper, and they were not allowed to honor any mortgages at that
They
point.
could do that.
On a
Is that
technicality.
legal?
Yeah.
Teach. Yeah.
Yes.
You know they feds making up
He
as they go.
avoided the CRA because now Chase was no longer considered a bank.
Yes, sir.
It was a Chase it was a Chase office. So he avoided all CRA stuff. He avoided all things that go along with banks, though they were a bank.
Teach.
He had it changed where they were no longer recognized as a bank.
Teach.
Now, this is the same Jamie Dimon in 2014 gave over 1,000 loans to white people in Washington, D.C., and only 23 to black people. Same Jamie Dimon. That's in Chicago now, talking about he going to help some small businesses do something. But on a technicality, they were able to change Chase Bank from a branch to just an office.
What's the difference, Harold?
It excluded them from operating as a bank.
Business like.
And once he got rid of those loans that they foreclosed on, he said he no longer wanted to be in that business, but he gave them to his friends. And then he said, I no longer even have to operate as a bank because this is now an office. though he still secretly was giving white people loans.
Wow.
A bank has a charter
Right.
that is
Right.
mandated by the government under certain guidelines.
Right.
But when he changed over to an office, you understand, he's saying, I'm no longer identifying any loans as I'm a bank. I'm now office. So you would come to him
Right.
as an office, and they would tell you that, and they would have to signify that they're office, because if not, and they did something, you can go to the federal government and sue them. So he made sure that technicality you would not have to bring them to court.
So the question now is, what are they plotting now? Because we're talking about what they did, and you know they got a plot somewhere.
Somewhere.
It's always there.
So,
Yes, sir.
so who's getting financing? Who's getting left out?
Yes, sir.
I mean, what are the Wall Street kingpins doing? What are the bank presidents doing? What are the hedge fund money? What are the private equity money people doing? What are they plotting? Because there are 15,000 people in L.A. that live in their cars right now. They go to work every day.
Yes, sir. That's a fact.
They're like living in their cars.
Yes, sir.
They go to work every day, cannot afford to live in L.A., but they can't afford to go find a job somewhere else. In L.A., 15,000 people.
Yes, sir.
I mean, some of them people that live on the 18th Street go to work every day.
Teach.
But you can't. They say on a $15 an hour job, that's still not enough to pay rent for a 2-bedroom house.
Yes, sir.
Apartment.
Yes, sir.
Still not enough to pay. You don't have enough money. So they're giving banks the money. They bailed them out, Wally, and then the bank said no to the customers who had the mortgages. They said, no, we don't help y'all. And when they brought them in court, and the judge asked them, how long did it take you to foreclose on somebody? They said 30 seconds.
Record-breaking time.
They said they would look at it and say, done with it, foreclose on it. 30 seconds. Now in 2013, Kamala Harris was the Attorney General in San Francisco. And her staff had put together a document and an investigation to put Steve Mnuchin in jail. Guess what Kamala Harris did? She threw it in the garbage can. They had put together documents, crime chaser. They had all the evidence to put Steve Mnuchin in jail. And she threw it in the garbage.
Wow.
Yeah, running for president. A Democrat. A Democrat. So they borrowed money against your house. They were so when Steve Mnuchin did, Wally, and Tom Barrack and Steve Schwartzman, what they did, and Wilbur, what's the guy named Wilbur Ross did, was once they got their houses, they borrowed against them.
Teach, bro.
So
they had collateral.
They had collateral. So how that $560 million lien ended up on that house that the black people owned, had 861 square feet, was they took $560 million off the houses that they owned.
Wow.
They took that money and leveraged the house and put that money somewhere else.
Harold, let me ask you a question then. Who came to the White House and had a private meeting with the President Obama before this took place?
It was Nancy Pelosi and...
No, you just said it. Jamie Dimon.
Jamie Dimon, yeah.
Jamie Dimon
right.
and
right.
Barack Obama had
a
a private meeting at the White House.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, all this stuff started unfolding.
He was a part of that. I'm going to come to call women. He was a part of the demise because now Barrack took out, what's his name, Mnuchin had leveraged $900 million. Now, mind you, Indy Bank went to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve went to Nancy Pelosi, and Nancy Pelosi and Schumer went to Obama, and then they came to Mnuchin and say, we're going to give you $1 billion to take the bank. Man, this stuff happened.
Of course it did. They couldn't afford for
stuff
the bank to
happened,
go
bro.
under.
And there were 61 cities in America between 2008 crime chaser and right now today that have not given black people one loan.
Wow.
61 cities in America.
Wow.
61 that can't show one black loan. One.
That's tough.
And so while we running around here talking about who we gonna vote for, and y'all talking about who's in front of y'all, it was the Democrats who brought those Republicans in and made them rich. They in Trump's camp now.
Yes, sir.
Schwartzman. I mean, what is Steve Schwartzman?
Well, all of them came from Wall Street. In fact, Steve Mnuchin was
Wilbur Ross is the U.S. Secretary of Commerce.
right.
Wow.
But all of them came from Wall Street.
Steve Mnuchin is the Secretary of the Treasury.
But they make deals
Tom Barrett,
with devils all the time.
Steve Schwartzman, personal friend, advisor to Trump. Steve Schwartzman, his assessment where he lives in New York, in Times Square, his assessment is $18,000 a month.
So
assessment.
are you trying to tell the listening audience
$18,000 a month.
that Obama's wife, Michelle, used to wash dishes and stuff, and they barely had enough money, and now all of a sudden they can go out on a Martha Vineyard where the homes are millions and millions of dollars, and they can pay
Judge
for
Joe
this.
Brown. Y'all seen that clip with Judge Joe Brown?
You got it?
Can you got it? Y'all play it? Judge Joe Brown said last year on Obama's tax, he filed in excess of $200 million.
Wow.
That he had got a trust fund from his daddy, from Barry Soetoro, whatever the guy's name was,
Yeah.
and that Obama is filthy rich.
Yeah, they was talking about it the other
You
day.
don't just buy a $14.5 million estate off a president's salary.
Plus,
Where the money come from?
plus his wife writes books, and people want to hear them speak.
And so you got back to the red line in 1980s, mortgages, and in this 8 million homes that were lost, crime chasing, they're saying upwards of 80% of them were black. Now, private equity, they keep secrets among themselves.
Yes, sir.
You know, I mean, Tom Barrett, Steve Schwartzman, he owns Blackstone. He spent last year at his birthday party, Wally, he spent $22 million at his birthday party.
Wow.
$22 million for a birthday party. So you mean to tell me that they relating to us? You spent $22 million for a goddamn birthday party, and you relating to me, or you got some love for me?
Right.
Ain't nowhere in the world.
Right.
You don't have no love for me. $22 million for a birthday party, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
A birthday party. I mean, how do you spend $20-some million on a birthday party, and then you say that they are legislating laws for you? How? They ain't no concern for you. They gonna continue to crush you over and over again.
Yeah.
And then these are the same guys.
Same.
Yeah, guess what else they do?
Wow.
These are the same guys that run the charter schools around America. Same guys. Same private equity money that most of these charter schools they get their money from these guys.
Teach.
And guess what? The charter schools get their money from the government.
Teach.
So it's like
Never ended.
I'm gonna get my $100 million because the government gonna pay me.
Yeah.
So the private equity guy, so the nice charter school comes in and said, we want to open up a charter school, Mr. Martin, and we want to make sure that black children are included. And we're going to do this one, and we're going to do another one, and then we're going to get private equity to finance it because we already know that the government, the federal dollars are going to pay private equity.
Teach, bro.
So they put all this money in charter schools, alternative schools. The same people that took your house. Now they're involved in the education of your children. I mean, brother.
To continue the onslaught.
Yes,
Look
sir.
at this stuff, man.
Yes, sir.
This stuff ain't no joke.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
This is real.
Misdirection. Teach it.
And so you got these guys, Tom Barrett,
Yes.
Steve Schwartzman,
That's right.
Jamie Dimon, Wilbur Ross,
A couple
Steve
more.
Mnuchin, all made billions of dollars off the Democratic Party. And now they're working in Trump's camp, but thanks to the Democrats, they've made billions.
Yes, sir.
So what's the difference?
Well, ain't no.
I mean, what is the difference in who we're going to vote for? I mean, you're going to blame Trump? Trump liked being around billionaires, but who made these guys? These guys wasn't so well off
No.
up until those 8 years we had a person look like us in office.
Yes, sir.
To make all of that money?
Yes, sir.
Well, they donated a lot of money to the Democratic Party at one time, Harold.
Brother,
Because
but-
if you look at the D2s you always talk about, and you look at where they came from off of Wall Street, they were always donating money to the Democratic Party. But when money people deal with money people, they don't care who's in office. We look at parties and they look at money. And it's very rewarding to have you do the research, because a lot of this stuff I didn't know. I remember the meeting that he had in the office with Jamie Dimon, because at one time, remember when we had First Chicago Bank downtown on Dearborn? Jamie Dimon took it over, and that's where he set his roots at here in Chicago. And then he moved to Wall Street, and Chase bought First Chicago Bank. And so when I seen him at that meeting in the White House, I never knew nothing about this, but I knew that him and Obama, because I remember reading it about him and Obama had a private meeting, and all of a sudden they come up with this bailout for all these banks, because Obama said, well, if the banks go under, the country gonna go under. And so they were throwing money at these people, and they never told us that they were just giving these people's money, and these people was making money, and they was playing with house money, so anything that they made over that belonged to them.
They gave Steve Mnuchin Indy Bank and gave him $1 billion
Yes.
to take it. And then he took that $1 billion and sold people's homes and leveraged it and pulled the $1 billion and did something else with it. And still got rent for the houses that the people are still there. Let's take the call.
Teach, bro.
Caller, you're now on the air. Okay, thank you. Harold, we back.
I mean, so all I'm trying to say now is, what is the plan for 2020?
The new
And
century.
beyond.
I mean, what's the plan now?
Yeah.
I mean, if they've done this, crime chaser, what's the plan now?
What wouldn't they do?
I mean, what is it that they want?
In the new century. Ain't no more
Well,
teaching.
Harold, why is we always on the defense? We never know what they're doing. It's like when we find out the door is just getting ready to close. It's done.
Check out what it says.
Like the
Steve
flower.
Schwartzman, birthday party, 350 people from around the world. Patti LaBelle performed. Dinner, lobster filet mignon, baked Alaska, along with $10,000 bottles of wine,
Whoa.
replicas of his art collection. Schwartzman, a multi-billionaire who made billions of dollars in his private equity company, the Blackstone Group, placing his company under microscope like never before. Schwartzman's co-founder, Pete Peterson, also counseled him to stay under the radar. So you don't need to be having a $20 million party. He said he often, while he for lunch, would spend $3,000 importing food from around the world. Crime chaser for $500 for a crab.
Teach.
It says his decision, he said in 2010, possibility of President Obama raising taxes and the private equity firm did more harm to the country than Adolf Hitler did when he was alive. Now, now you tell me the global power structure that's responsible for these conditions that we live now, that robbed the working class people, stripped them of their houses, took the little wealth they had, and put the money in their pockets and political entities. Did he say to himself, you know what? I'm going to take out a slice of cake. Hell no. He did what he wanted to do
Took a
and
chunk.
had no love in terms of people losing everything that they had.
Of course not.
Took a
Wally,
chunk.
I mean, Wally,
I'm not shocked, number one, because I understand who these people are. You may not agree with it, but I really don't care what you agree with. This is the work of Satan. You don't like that because you want to make him some spook, some spirit. But the Bible tell you exactly who he is, and he tell you that when God comes, after the working of Satan, the son of perdition, that's a man. This, what my brother just been giving us, is the work of Satan.
that's right.
Not devil. Satan makes devils. These are not devils. They make devils. They got a whole lot of people under their sphere of influence. And Mr. Obama, he co-signed it.
Yes, sir.
So while you all was thinking he was so great and so wonderful, and he don't have your blood,
Sucker
he don't
thumb.
have your suffering in his DNA, I'm sorry, he don't. The sister was the best thing for us with him, but clearly she was overpowered. Clearly.
Yes, sir.
Now, I think my brother is raising a serious question. What is the reason for our allegiance to the Democratic Party? Why do you feel like you need to vote for this old crusty bastard Biden or Sanders or any of them? When are you going to get sick and tired of being sick and tired and just don't vote for nobody? Y'all preach Jesus on Sunday, vote for him. Write him on your ballot. I vote for Jesus.
He ran for office.
This is, it's not disheartening. I don't agree. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say that the pathway to wealth is land ownership. That's the pathway to wealth. Not hoping in some evil banker. Not flipping your mortgage over. I'm sorry, my little brothers and sisters. Not some demon writing you a little check. Because guess what? The minute they write 60 million checks or 46 million, you know what's going to happen? Everything is going to go up. Because everybody going to know you got a little extra money. And since you're not a producer, you just a consumer, they going to be standing waiting for you. I got a joke and I'm going to be quiet, brother. God called 3 men to him. One was black. One was Caucasian, and another one, because of the new laws, I don't want to say them, but you'll figure it out. He asked the black man, what do you want? He said, I want a Cadillac. And the guy said, okay, your petition is granted. Caucasian came up. He said, well, what do you want? I like a home and a car, a decent family. The God granted that to him. But the last person came up. The God said, well, what do you want? He said, look, I don't need nothing from you. I just need the address of them other two. You figure out who the third person was.
Yeah.
And what we witnessed, Crime Chaser, and T.C. Red and Wally,
Yes, sir.
was absolute power.
Yes,
What
sir.
they did. It was absolute, which corrupts absolute.
Yes, sir.
And they had absolute power where their relationships with politicians, with the federal government, allowed these billionaires to come in and make more billions of dollars in terms of them being able to private equity. Now remember we said out of the 400 richest people in America, 398 of them are private equity managers.
Tease.
This is what they do. Let's take the call.
Caller, you're down there.
Hello, how everybody doing?
All
Hey,
right.
Levante.
Hey, what's up, brother?
What's happening? You know, I got to call in and chime in on this subject here about what you guys talking about these elders out here. You know, I'm gonna stay on this thing because I'm a youth that we've been taken advantage of by our own elders. And I don't blame the white people because the elders been in control. And I from a youth, I could think back to when I was in St. Charles and they had sergeants and lieutenants black over me that you couldn't even read. That's why they gave you the job. They knew you was going to abuse me. Like James Booth. His name was James Booth. He worked in St. Charles. You can look him up. The man couldn't even read. How did he make it to be sergeant over us? That's what they done. They put illiterate people that didn't have an education over us, over my generation, and that's why my generation is still suffering today. And take, I hear people not talking about, I just went and got a PhD that's in their 50s and their 60s and they, stuff like that. And you should have, if you want to lead your race or be something special, you should have went to school a long time ago before you stepped up and then say, I'm going to go to school and then learn the real and really what's going on, because that's what put us behind. They gave a lot of people jobs that didn't have an education. A lot of black elders. And I can prove this because if they had education, they wouldn't have let them people get over on the youth like they have gotten over on us. It's not the youth fault. It's not the white people's fault. If any other race can get over on another race by buying their elders off, like I say, the Arabs up north told me this all the time when I was working for them, that you all been bought. It's not my fault I'm in the position that I'm in. And when, like I say, when the youth figure this out and come stand on you all, we'll be in a much better position than what we're in. You need to wake up the youth and really tell the youth the truth about who really their enemy. It's not no white man. I can see a white man coming 1,000 miles away. It's my teacher. It's the police that want to be a police came in our neighborhood and destroy my community. It's not all the black judges, but some black judges and all the politicians are sellouts, because you all know the real truth. If you let them come and destroy your own community for a few dollars, you're the most cowardly thing that's on the planet, because they watching. The planet is watching you. They're watching you very well, and it's not gonna go on forever, because things around the world don't none stay the same. You're going to have your day, and it's coming real soon, because, like I say, you hear a lot of youth talking much better than what they've been talking in the past, because we got social media now, so we can kind of, talk more amongst each other than what we used to. But until our elders come and apologize to us and put us in control, get out of our way, because you ain't got no power. You's a coward. If you wanted a coward, we wouldn't be in the position we in today. Come and get us and take us to these meetings. You don't need to go. Well, we need to be a witness, standing there watching you. So when you make the wrong move, we can get in your behind like we're supposed to, because our life on the line. Everybody have a blessed day. And Harold Davis, please give me a call when you get off the air, sir. And anybody that want to help me, please call Harold. I'm in a messed up position right now. Everybody have a blessed day.
Right.
And
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
brother.
Next caller. Caller, you on the air.
Hey, mister. Hey, fellas, it's D from Baltimore.
Hey, D from Baltimore.
Hey. Listen, this is a powerful show today. You get powerful and powerful every day. Yeah. And I totally agree with your callers. And I thank you, Mr. Hurl, for
waking up, man.
Yeah. Because so that the people can understand exactly what happened. I think what they're working on that is the student loans. That's probably going to be the next collapse.
Well, a lot of the student loan money was hedge fund by them, and so that's why you can't. Yeah. That's why you can't write it off even on bankruptcy, because they got to get their money. And so a lot of those student loans, or these private equity guys, they own those student loans.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That's right. That's right. And so that's the next one. That's going to be the next. That's the next bubble.
Yep.
And so, Mr. Wiley, Brother Wiley, I appreciate you, brother, because for real, you keeping it real, right? Until you can get a politician and a people behind that politician, it ain't gonna work. We got to kind of work like how Haiti worked when they rebelled, And when the United States put people in place in Haiti and stuff, right? Their own people, that's not going to work either, right? You got to put your own folks in there. And when y'all talk about the whole land piece, whole land trust, who owns the land trust in this country? Most of the land is taken up. China got a lot of this land over here now. and so
the Japanese.
A lot of this land over here.
Without a doubt. And Sister D, the problem too is that our children's future has been already taken away. I mean, when you take 8 million people's homes, a lot of that was money, that homes that could have been left as in the will to a child, or they could have gotten that money, or that house could have stayed there, was paid for, or almost paid for, and the equity in the house would have been an inheritance for that child.
Generational wealth.
That's right.
The Bible says what is proverb? What's that proverb say? A wise man leave an inheritance. What's that proverb?
Children.
To his grandchildren.
To his grandchildren. Well, I want to ask a question. How many black grandfathers are able to leave an inheritance for their grandchildren? But I bet if you go check the average black preacher in Chicago, he has already done that. I mean, check it out. He's already put something in place.
They got their incentives in place for them.
Just like they kids going to private school.
Teach.
And your kid ain't going to no school.
Right.
I mean, go over there to that Morgan Park Academy and see who picking their kids up.
Yes, sir.
Go over there and see if you don't see Otis Moss and James Meeks and all of them, where it costs almost $30,000 a year to send your grandchild there.
Wow.
Go over there and see, and in that lot, and see who's picking up their children over there, and your children ain't got nothing.
Teach, bro.
I mean, they leaving their children in the inheritance. Trust me. Trust me.
And then on top of this, Mr. Harold, check it out. If we do build a Wall Street, it's going to take generations to build that. You still got to build a military around there to protect that.
Well,
You know, I'm looking at what's happening in all these cities, these major cities, with black on black crime, and some of it I think is just like the fascination hits for real. I wouldn't be surprised to see how
it's funny when they talk about flipping houses. Steve Mnuchin flipped a bank.
Flip the bank.
Wow.
I mean, he flipped a bank.
Yeah.
I mean, think about flipping houses.
Right. Yeah.
Dude flipped a bank.
Right.
I mean, come on.
And look, check it out. Check it out too. Right. You got to understand these are A-type personality folks. Right. Meaning that the same like we see a person that's a heroin addict. Right, and they gotta have that fix in the morning, or alcoholic they shake so much until they get the alcohol in them. These folks are like that when it comes to money. And at the end of the day, what they're doing is basically they trade, right? They go to the Hamptons, right? And those the male A-type personality, what they do is they kind of party with the with the prostitutes and do cocaine and all that kind of stuff, I
mean, when you look at Sister D, when you look at Indy Bank had $27 billion in assets, and you look at this guy went in and immediately foreclosed on 178,000 homes, and so what he did was leverage those homes and took the money out of those homes, bundled them up, and was sold to private equity managers himself. He took those houses and sold them to himself, and the government, Nancy Pelosi and them, gave him $1 billion to do it.
Teach.
She's from Merle.
What kind of stuff is that? That's like us going outside. They say, here's $5 million. What am I gonna do with it? Do whatever you want to do with it.
Right.
And now they say, with the $5 million, we also own $100 million in houses. Now you can take those if you want. That's what he did. He took the people's houses once they gave him $27 billion in assets, and then they said he helped bail us out.
Look,
Hey, Mr. Wiley.
you can love a people like that if you want. You go right ahead with your loving self. You love them.
Y'all need to talk.
Because I love everybody.
Hello?
I'm sorry,
Hey,
D.
look, Mr. Wiley. Y'all gotta understand how this connects to Epstein too.
All of
That's why he ain't around no more.
That's a great
Because
point,
that's all they do is party.
great point.
And
They say he ain't around.
Exactly. All right,
There's a
Sister D.
lot of prestige. These guys, man. I mean, it's like they got a cult going on here.
Well,
right?
If they can buy your house, well, now what they doing now? They done stepped up the game. They buy countries,
That's right.
and they got armies that serve as their mercenaries.
So we got
When you say we're protecting our servicemen, they
D,
mercenaries.
That's right.
Thank you.
Sister D, can you call us back tomorrow? We want to take this
Call in, Sister D.
Thank you, Sister D. Yeah.
Okay.
This dude
Take care.
flipped a bank.
Okay, caller, can you come on? Call you on the air. few minutes.
Yeah, how you doing? My name is Dre.
What up, Dre?
Hey, Dre.
Yeah, what's going on? I was just, letting y'all know that, I appreciate what y'all brothers is doing, and, I like the love that y'all sitting out and trying to put awareness to the black community, because a lot of other people, they don't. They want to keep us dumbfounded and down. But y'all, y'all reaching out, and I'd just like to say thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, brother.
for
You're
calling.
welcome, sir.
Call back. Call
Thank you.
soon.
Can you call us tomorrow, brother? Give us a call
Yes,
tomorrow.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'd love to talk
Yes,
with
sir.
you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Y'all have
Thank
a
you,
good one.
sir.
Y'all have a
You too, brother. But what I'm saying is, what are they planning for now?
Yeah.
I mean, if they didn't took everything they can take, what are they planning now?
It's
Your
called.
death.
It's one word. It's called extinction.
That's right.
That's
That's the word.
Yeah,
Because we done got everything
Death.
from y'all that we can take from you.
Not your
so
life.
why are you still on the earth?
Death.
Look, remember Dave Chappelle? Remember when he played the black man who thought he was white because he was blind?
White power.
All you good for nothing niggers breathing up all the white man's air. That's how he looks at you.
Remember he said white power.
You're taking up his resources.
Yes,
So his
sir.
aim now is to get rid of all of us.
Yeah.
But for nobody to be in jail
Yeah.
for the stuff that they did. But the point I was trying to make today was all that stuff was done under the Democratic Party.
Yes, sir.
With the blessing
Great
of
point.
Nancy Pelosi, Steve Schomer, and the President Obama.
I want to thank you, Harold, for your prayers.
Great
and
point.
TC being there, and Wally for his prayers.
Yes, sir.
Michelle Dixon and Miss Hicks that came there, and all the people that came to my grandson's funeral. They didn't know they was him holding me up, because I've been holding everybody up. And they think I don't know what they think, but God, Allah holds me up. So I thank you for.
You know what they say?
Thank you, brother.
They say, you a sexy man.
Yeah.
The sexiest thing a black man to do today is to take care of his goddamn family and to defend his woman and kick ass when he has to.
That's right.
That's sexy.
That's right.
Wait. Keith, don't forget kill. Come on, HD. You got to kill if you attacked. If your woman is attacked, slay them.
That's sexy. Now go and tell that.
Now say we advocating violence, and I'll show you your Bible.
Malcolm
right.
sexy.
That's it.
That's it for
Malcolm
us.
was sexy.
Undisputed, untold, uncut, uncensored, unbought, unapologetic, straightforward, down the middle, but naked truth. We say the things most afraid to think about or dream about. Liberation without continuation of the miseducation, misinformation to the black man and black woman. Down with the accommodators, up with the liberators, trade with those who trade with you. Thank you, Crime Chaser, for coming by, man.
problem.
And Crime Chaser, man, this brother and Patrick, they were the two original black news people. Y'all give Ken Bedford credit. Ken Bedford don't do nothing that they do. Ken Bedford worked for Channel 7. Yeah, I said it. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We're going to finish this with part 2.
Yes, sir.
The brother's gonna work it out.
The opinions expressed on the radio program by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Great Lakes Radio and
AM 1570.